I'm ready.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to DCP Side Quest. You know, I'm just going to start over. I'm rolling it back. Here we go. Fresh one. Hello and welcome to Side Quest episode number 71, the next gen. Briar's still pixelated, but it's next gen edition of Side Quest. We're going deep, guys. You ready to go deep?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. There's so much to talk about. We made an outline.
We haven't done that since what, episode like 4?
I haven't done that since episode ever.
I remember the first few episodes. It used to be, what are we talking about this week, guys?
Let's plan it out. We're gonna go boop boop boop. Here's the beats, and then that stopped about 7 episodes ago.
True.
That's completely true. That's an accurate statement.
So should we do a running hits of the last gen? Oh, no? Oh, okay. All right. Let's talk about current gen. All right. Yeah. The new gen. Fine. All right.
It would be fun, maybe somewhere down the road, to do a segment where we just talk about our favorites from the last gen. You know, like it's kind of
maybe
retrospective.
The end of year episode.
Today, I don't think it's that day.
Yeah.
Definitely not today.
Too many games already.
Yeah.
Too many games.
So,
Xbox, right?
What do you want to start with? You want to start with the Xbox 4, the Xbox Series X, and Series S?
I would love to hear Xbox thoughts because I don't have an Xbox. So I can't contribute to this conversation.
I have not played a game on the Xbox. I can confirm it plays Crunchyroll very well. The anime looks real nice. Also, good Mandalorian looks great. Sounds great.
God, nice. Episode 2 of Mandalorian was so good. Episode 3. Episode 3 was so good.
Haven't watched it yet. No spoilers.
Watch it.
All right, bye.
Time to watch some cartoons.
The Xbox 4, to me, is like exactly like getting a new graphics card for your PC. You play all the same games that you already were playing, but now they look better.
Nice.
And load way faster.
Oh, yeah.
And it's faster. Things. Yeah. It's like upgrading your PC, right? It's the exact same feeling. And it's mainly due to the fact that there's not a lot of like launch software for the Xbox this time around. Like it just didn't work out that way. There are new games. Like Valhalla is new, you know, and you can play that on the Xbox 4. You can play the new Call of Duty. But there's just it's not like the PlayStation where there's a ton of brand new games kind of really like narrow-mindedly single focused on like, here are the new next gen features on the Xbox 4 and we're going to exploit those to sell it. You know, so what it does is it plays like games that are on Game Pass and games that you already own really well. And if you are playing, you know, Valhalla or Call of Duty, then it also does that very well. Well, Valhalla, somewhat well.
I've been playing Valhalla like exclusively on Xbox. I think I've only had like one issue with it so far, but it's been. I think you hit the nail on the head though when you said it's like a new graphics card, because the thing is, and I mean no disrespect to like Xbox, because as a console it's really nice. Like it looks really nice. It's it's a very powerful machine, but it's definitely it's the first time where I feel like I've had like a next gen console where I didn't get that same next gen console excitement, because like I very, very fortunately got sent the Xbox by Microsoft, and it was kind of telling. I mean, partly because there was an embargo, but also like I had the Xbox sitting in the box for 2 days before I opened it. Normally it'd be like, new console, the first thing I want to do is open it. And I was like, well, there's no rush to open it because I have nothing to play on it. So I'll do it like next week. So then I opened it, checked it out. It was kind of cool and things like that. And obviously, again, partly because I was waiting for my games to come through. Like I got the Xbox a week before I could play anything. So it was basically just a brick sitting there waiting. But even so, it's sort of, I think the GPU comparison is perfect, because it's like, you put it, like, you get that excitement of like, oh yeah, like I got the new 3080, it's cool. But like you put it in and you're like, all right, nothing's changed. Yeah. Whereas I got the PlayStation, I was like, do I play Demon's Souls? Do I play Spider-Man? Do I play Godfall? Like, what do I want to do right now? It's So this isn't me trying to sort of like pit them against each other, but I definitely think right now you do feel the lack of a first party, like a Halo. Like I can feel that gap.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Even the controller being exact.
Does Valhalla play at 60 FPS?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Is it like steady locked, or does it hiccup?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's pretty much sticks right at 60. In the early, for some reason, in the very early, we'll talk about Valhalla a little bit more, but right in the early section of Valhalla where you're still kind of in like Viking land.
Oh yeah. No way. Yeah.
I did see a lot of screen tearing, but once you get to England, that screen tearing went away. So I don't know what's up with that, and that
Norway
probably will get fixed.
It's canon.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I will make sure to never visit Norway now.
The Norwegians out there living with screen tearing? My God, in real life?
Unfortunately, they said in the latest patch notes there's no way to fix that.
Oh, that's an excellent pun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for bringing that into my life.
After the week of launch, I needed that.
The other weird thing about the Xbox is the controller is exactly the same. I mean, it's different, but it's almost exactly the same. Like if you're just put it in your hand, very little is different about it. And the UI is almost exactly the same as on the one.
Yeah.
So it's like the experience of holding the controller and like, going into the system menus and everything, it all feels so familiar. It's not until you like load in a game and you say, oh, okay, this is definitely running faster, that it actually, you get that kind of next gen experience.
Right.
So it's the weirdest console launch that I've ever been a part of, because it does feel so familiar as opposed to what we'll talk about later with the PlayStation 5, where so much is different.
Did you play Destiny on it?
Yes, I did. I played Destiny. Unfortunately, the next gen patch isn't coming out until December 10th, I think.
Yeah, 8th or 10th.
But clearly the load times were super fast, which I heard is part of Beyond Light, actually, is that the load times on console have gotten faster with Beyond Light.
Yeah.
But they are super fast on the Xbox 4. And, it still runs at 30 FPS, but, it's still console Destiny right now. So, like, I had fun playing it, but I did quickly switch back to PC.
Did you play any 360 games?
I didn't play a 360 game, but I played an original Xbox game. I played Panzer Dragoon Orta, which is pretty cool because it upscales it to 4K and it automatically enables HDR mode. So any game, it's like the Xbox 4 has this like auto HDR mode where any game that didn't obviously support it before, it just upgrades to HDR. And most of the time, it looks pretty good. Like, and it does make those games look better. Like Panzer Dragoon Orta looks really good, and you can see that the polygons are, there are fewer polygons used in like character models than there would be in modern games, but it's ultra sharp. It's just like the highlights really pop out of the screen in HDR mode. There's a lot of like lasers and flying missiles and like, dark backgrounds. So it just like, it really pops in a cool way.
Nice.
I do want to play some Xbox 360 games on it, but there's just only so much time. It's been a week since these, and we've had 2 console launches. And I put like 16 hours into Godfall.
fair. Yeah, I think part of the reason like the experience didn't feel as new as well, because I completely didn't realize, because honestly, because of the way that Microsoft has been switching with like, you can play anywhere. Prior to Xbox Series X, like I hadn't played my Xbox One X for a long time because I just play everything on PC. So I didn't even realize that the interface that we have on Series X about a month or 2 ago rolled out on Xbox One X anyway. So it's almost like the new interface isn't even new to a lot of people. Like, I didn't realize it. So I did a video on like the new dashboard and everyone's like, so it's just like the Xbox One X. I'm like, oh, is it? And then it's like, oh, so I think, I mean, even that, like part of the magic a lot of the time of a new console, even if there's not like a great deal, even when I got like the Nintendo Switch and like there's not much to do on the homepage, but still regardless, it's like, oh, it's a new interface. Like you go around like, oh, what's in the settings? What's this? Like with Xbox, it didn't feel new. It's nice. It's fast. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, it is a super fast console. I mean, like I know I went back and I tested Monster Hunter World Iceborne across PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series X, and I did some like load time tests. And obviously, my PS4 is a little bit different because I've got a PS4 Pro with SSD in, so it's like a little bit. So the actual, for me, the load time difference between PS5 and my SSD PS4 was only about 15 seconds, whereas the Xbox was astronomical. It was like from dashboard into game, into load the save, into the actual playable world in like 30 seconds, whereas the PlayStation was closing on like 50 seconds. And I was like, damn, that is fast.
Wow.
Yeah. That's awesome. Fast. And it runs at 60 FPS, right? Which is Monster Hunter World to me still looks fantastic, and to play that at 60 FPS, I think is awesome.
Yeah. Does the PS5 one play at 60 FPS?
Yeah.
And you can play. The nice thing is you can play 60 FPS in the resolution mode now, so you can get the nice resolution and the frame rate. Whereas before you would prioritize frame rate mode.
That's great. Does it feel locked at 60, or does it dip?
think so, yeah. I mean, like, I'll be honest, I'm probably not the best person to say that, because I feel like I'm really bad at seeing frame rate a lot of the time, unless I see them like literally side by side. Sometimes someone will be like, "Oh, is it running at 60?" I'm like, "I think so." I did a couple of tests where I literally
I haven't thrown up yet, so yeah. I think so.
I did a couple of like tests, and I had to like record it and send it to like the team and be like, "Is this 60?" They're like, "How can you not see? This is obviously 60." I'm like, "Oh, it still looks good."
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Eric sees in 24 FPS.
It's true. I just enjoy those Nintendo experiences. I don't need those frames. I just need that. Yeah,
who needs frames? Who needs 3070s and 3080s in their life? My gosh.
Exactly, right? Not me.
The bulk of the time I've been spending with the Xbox Series X is, I think, and it's the same with you, is Valhalla, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, a game that I actually wasn't expecting to buy, but I got the Xbox. I was like, well, I got to buy something new for this. So I just ran over to Best Buy. I'm like, all right, I'll get Valhalla. You know, like, what's the worst that can happen?
Which, shout out to Eric's beard currently being very Valhalla.
Rocking the beads.
Yeah, I gotta get the theme.
Hell yeah.
And my TV, actually, I bought a new TV, and if I spam this green button here, my TV will actually show me frame rates on a game.
Oh, cool.
And it does actually, I know, it's kind of fun, and it does actually run at 60 FPS.
Okay.
But there was that screen tearing issue. But I gotta say, I think I really like this Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
It's so good, right? I mean, like, I know kind of going into it, I definitely sort of have that bias because like I like Vikings already. So I know like if you compare them side by side with like Origins and Odyssey, like thematically it's more appealing to me. And obviously also it's in England, and I'm like, you know, I've recently been watching like Vikings and Last Kingdom. So there's so many elements that I'm just connected to. But at the same time, like this is without question for me personally, one of the best Assassin's Creed games I've played in a long, long time. Like it's got, you know, I didn't play Origins and Odyssey all the way through, so I can't talk to like the length and stuff. But I feel like the pacing in this one, I really like it. I like the way that, you know, I don't feel like there have been any points where the game's been dragging around like, oh, now I've got to go and do some menial task. Like, if I want to continue the story, I just carry on the story. And like, I've very kind of organically leveled up to the point where I'm never like, because I heard in like Origins and Odyssey, sometimes you be a little bit like below level, so you have to go and grind for a bit before you can go. Whereas this one is like, nope, you're already organically the right level. And then suddenly you kind of go off towards like, you know, there's always the dots on the map, like the blue and the gold dots, and there's always these mysteries. And I feel like none of them ever waste your time. You don't get there and be like, oh, this is a waste of my, like, this is rubbish. Like it might be like a small quest to help someone, but sometimes it'll be like a world puzzle or like a legendary creature. So I feel like they've really spaced the world out super well. So
those side quests too, Eric, I find that they're interesting. Like they're fun on their own. Like this is the most Witcher that I think Assassin's Creed has ever gotten, because definitely. I can just wander around and do a side quest or two and feel like, hey, this was actually a fun experience on its own. I don't have to just mainline story. I can, like, there was one quest where I just run across this guy who's on guard duty up in the mountains and he's sleepwalking.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
And I'm like, this was kind of a fun little thing. It was, I don't know, 3-minute side quest, but it was fun, and it was like its own little bespoke, interesting story. It wasn't, you know, some random person telling me, oh, I need five fish out of the sea. Or, 5. Yeah. It was just this little bespoke thing. There was another one where I ran across this woman who she said she would sleep with anybody, or no, she'd go on a date with anybody who found her comb, which she had thrown into the water.
Oh, okay.
You know, like stuff like that. It's just like everything is a little bit different. Everything feels bespoke. I found this dude in a cave who was way over my level. Like, and I actually think that's fun. It's like, okay, I'll mark this on my map after he beat my ass 5 times in a row. I marked him on my map, and I'll come back to him later. You know?
Yeah.
I like that, and I like the loot system too, where it's not like Assassin's Creed Odyssey was, where Assassin's Creed Odyssey very much used the Destiny model, where it just is constantly dropping tons of loot on you, 90% of which is completely irrelevant, right? It's like you're looking for purples and oranges, and it's constantly dropping blues and greens on you. This game, it seems like every piece of loot I got was interesting, right? It was like, all right, like it's not dropping loot all the time, but it's what I'm getting is like, all right, I got a flail now, you know, like let's try out a flail. or I got a hammer now. I'm going to try out the hammer. Like I found that to be really, it's not, they backed off of the loot aspect, but now everything's a little bit more interesting.
I almost feel like as well, given the way the loot works, it's almost like, although the game has a loot system, I feel like they've almost done it in a really intelligent way where if you don't care about loot, you can almost play it and almost ignore the loot system. Like I haven't completed the game yet. I'm about halfway through. I've gone through half the game and I'm still wearing the same armor set I had at the very beginning because you can just upgrade it and just bring it with you. Every piece of gear can just be upgraded. So like, although there is new stuff that drops and you can be like, oh, this sword at this current moment of dropping is like 10 points more in damage. But you might be like, well, but I like this sword, so I'm just going to go back to Smithy at base and just upgrade it. And now I'm going to carry on with this. So I'm carrying the same weapons now 30 hours in than I was basically 10 hours in. So I feel like they've done it in a really intelligent way where, if you want to take advantage of the loot, you can kind of go around and find some things. It's more targeted. You can go after like the gold dots on the map to where like the armor pieces are located and you can start finding some armor pieces and some weapons and stuff. So you can pursue loot if you want to, but you're right. It's definitely not like, it's not showering you. And I just feel like it's definitely, it fits the game more because Assassin's Creed is not a loot game. I like the idea that you can put different pieces of equipment on. I always liked it in previous games where you could have like different looking, assassin robe. So I like the customization element, but I think now is a good balance where it's like there is loot, but it is not a looter.
Is there any legendary?
You spend less time managing it. Eric's made a video that I found very interesting. I saw the title. I was like, do I want to watch this video or not?
Ooh, maybe not yet. Maybe not yet.
Yeah, because in Odyssey there was legendaries or exotic like level gear that had specific perks to it.
Yeah, it's got that.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Like, honestly, I feel like right now, I mean, I know you can play it on like PC, you can play it on things like that, but I feel like anyone that's picked up a Series X, if you want like a game for your next gen system, like pick up Valhalla. I've recommended like there's so many games coming out right now. And everyone's like, do I play Spider-Man? Do I play this? Do I play that? But I'm just like, amidst all of them, I'm just like, pick up Valhalla. Like honestly, like, it's as you said, like it's going to give you a comparable Witcher-like experience. Like okay, Ubisoft games have they're a bit rough around the edges, and they might not be as polished as Witcher, but like. I love it. Like I love the combat as well. It's just like super aggressive and just like I like the Viking raiding stuff. The fact that you could just rock up to a town and blow your horn and like your dudes just run in with you. It's like yes, it feels
that is
so
super
cool.
fun, man. Like you blow your horn, you just run into that town and like your whole ship empties out behind you, and it's just all of a sudden this big battle, and you're like, yeah, this
like
is
like
so
really, actually Viking raiding.
Yeah. And it's so in keeping because I'm so used to like in Assassin's Creed games, it's like you are the assassin, so it's like it's all about you, and like you might have like a buddy who'll come along with you, but because Vikings have always historically raided together, like you'll go and do quests on your own, but there's so much in this game that is about like you and your party, you and your raiding band, you and this, like so there are lots and lots of times in the game where it's just like you've literally got like your army just running with you and you're just in the middle of the crowd and all of you are just like having a war, and it's like this is cool, man.
Yeah,
except for when you have to go and raid a place and occasionally you have to open a door and wait for your mate to help you, and you stand by the door ready to shoulder barge it, and my dude is standing right here, and I'm like, come on, help me, and he's like, that's annoying.
I am hoping for some patches for the game. Like there are some weird things still going on with the game. I know early on that it was deleting people's saves, and that was the credits don't roll for this game. Like the Assassin's Creed logo doesn't pop on the screen until about 4 or 5 hours into the game.
Yeah, it's true.
And people were getting like corrupted saves. So I think they fixed that. I'm pretty sure they fixed that, but like the screen tearing issue and it's not something you want to see on your next gen console, but it's a fun game. I think that and Call of Duty are probably the two. Call of Duty runs at 120 FPS on console.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
We might have to have like maybe like next week or the week after. At some point, I feel like we need to have a spoiler Assassin's Creed discussion. Not from a story point of view, but there's just I don't know. It depends on how far.
I don't think I can finish Assassin's Creed in a week.
Yeah,
I've heard upwards of 60, 70 hours.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, so I'm about halfway through, but shout out to Paradise, and obviously as part of Eric's Gaming, he's the one that powered through the game. So he got to the end game and he golden lined it. So he did it in he golden lined it in 50 hours, but then went back into the load of collectibles and stuff. So it's been about 60. I think he's sort of like sunk a good like 60, 70 hours. He was on the Assassin's Creed shift like last week.
Dude, the golden line just the main quest was 50 hours. Yeah, that's it.
Just the main quest. You basically skip
that.
Feels
else. In sync with Odyssey too. Odyssey was like that. I think I spent easily 60 hours on Odyssey.
Shorter than Odyssey was a lie.
They took down that tweet actually.
They did. They removed it.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Never mind. It's time.
But I don't mind because these games are almost like comfort food for me. Like
Yeah.
The Witcher 3 took me a year to finish. Origins took me almost a year to finish. Odyssey took me about a year to finish. Like it's just those games that I come back to because I don't. It's not like I'm gonna lose my place in the story. You know?
No,
like,
exactly right. Yeah.
You know what's going on. You're killing people. You know, but like they're just fun games and it's fun to explore. I will say, I know that you're super connected to the setting. I'm not as connected to the setting.
Fair enough.
And I do miss Odyssey's kind of visual splendor, being
fair.
you know like just like the emerald blue or not emerald, but the blue sea and the bright skies and just the splendor of Greece was, I don't know, just it's a little more gray and a little more brown in this game.
Welcome to England. Also
Welcome to England.
Have you done? I'm a dance around this. Have you drunk a magic potion yet?
Yes.
The lady?
Yes. Also got
Have
my
you
ass
been
kicked there.
Okay.
Oh no, I actually I didn't drink a magic potion. I found mushrooms.
Oh,
And I ate mushrooms, and then these like 4 like spectral warriors came out of nowhere and put a pretty harsh beating on me.
Because there's a thing that I feel like we maybe we'll touch on it like next week because I don't want to spoil it. But like if you like the kind of color and the splendor, there's some stuff we should let's revisit Valhalla next week for fear of spoiling aspects of the game.
Are there any other Xbox launch games that we should go over? It's Game Pass is obviously pretty good because all those Game Pass games that are available for the Xbox 4, they just run great. Like Forza Horizon runs great. All of those games on there. I did check out Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and running that at 4K 120 FPS is fucking magical, frankly.
I bet.
Like it's outstanding, and it's like that game looks really good anyway, and now it's like, holy smokes, it's like one of the best looking games I've ever seen.
Wow.
I think the other thing they were pushing as like a launch title was like, and somebody's gonna need to tell me here. I'm clearly missing something. Why do people like Yakuza games? Because everyone was raving about Yakuza Like a Dragon, right? I put up some gameplay because I was like, I want to try it and I want to give it a chance. I remember the last time I played a Yakuza game was on PS3, and I just don't see the appeal. I just don't see it, right? Everyone raves about it like they're crazy. Maybe I didn't get far enough in the game, and this one introduced turn-based combat, but I was just like, what am I doing? I don't belong.
I think it's a specific brand of crazy that people just really dig on. Like it's just it's a little bit loony, and it's just kind of fun if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's fair.
Well, make sure to at Eric's Gaming on Twitter and let him know why you like Yakuza games.
Share your opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I definitely, because I've seen some of the crazy people, because I remember when I saw the trailer for it, it does look wacky. This one introduced turn-based combat, which is almost like, I feel like I came in at the wrong time, because I'm not a turn-based guy. I feel like because back in the day, it used to be real-time, right? So like, that's the one I play on PS3. So I think I came in at the wrong time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We've got enough games to talk about. So let's put Yakuza to one side.
Should we move on to PS5?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so PS5 came out 2 days after Xbox 4.
Yep.
Back to back.
And I mean, lots Tefty. What did you guys think? You both got one day one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's been great. I was really surprised how fast setup was, because I was expecting like, okay, we're gonna have a day one patch. It's gonna take a while. I'm gonna have to download all the games. It's gonna take a while. But I went through the initial setup, done. Godfall downloaded in like 10 minutes, done.
Did you do it on your phone, Watts?
No, I did it just. No, I did it all just through the console.
Same
itself. Yeah, but it was super fast, super easy, and you were up and playing games in like 15 minutes from initial startup.
I did it on the PlayStation app. Like it kind of said you could do it through the PlayStation app, and then just put all your user ID and everything right on there.
That's
which was really nice. Yeah. Xbox did the same thing, in all honesty.
Yeah,
I was actually kind of worried about having to like input all the stuff on the controller, because I deleted the app off my phone when I didn't re-download the app off my phone. But yeah, I was like, man, this is gonna be a pain in the ass having to put all my information in. And the controller is so nice that I was like, this is just really nice inputting this information. I'm like, I'm enjoying this. Like, it just feels so good. Yeah, setup was insanely quick, and I second it to Watts. I also went through Wi-Fi. I was like, usually I hook things up with Ethernet, but it had the option to connect to the 5G on the Wi-Fi, or the 5 gigahertz stuff, and it is insanely quick. They have modern hardware in there, and everything updates super fast. I was expecting to have to also wait like a couple hours just for all the things to update. And, PlayStation historically has been like just so slow when it comes to copying anything, downloading, copying, waiting.
Brutal.
Brutally painful, slow. And this thing is like, boop, 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 done. Oh, and also we downloaded all this. And also while you were playing, we downloaded all these games that you said, let's download right now.
If you buy the disc version, it asks you to put a disc in and it starts installing the disc game while you're setting it up.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Huh.
Yeah.
I was watching Tefty play Godfall, and he was downloading like 17 games at the same time.
Yep.
So it kept popping up. Bugsnax is available.
Yeah.
When did you run out of space?
How
How many games did you download?
I actually downloaded like 9, I think. I downloaded Destiny 2, Bloodborne, Bugsnax, Demon Souls, Titanfall. I feel like I'm missing a few others. Like there was things I downloaded.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah, Ghost of Tsushima downloaded all that. Yeah.
In contrast to the Xbox, when I took this thing, as soon as I took it out of the box, I was stricken by two things. One was this thing is bigger than I thought it was, even though everybody's been telling me how big it is.
It's massive.
It's almost the size of the PC case.
Yep,
It's
huge.
like that big.
It's like a mini PC.
It's massive. I've been
It
carrying it up and down the stairs, like putting it on the TV downstairs, putting it on the TV upstairs, and it's like carrying like a suitcase under my arm. It's so big. And the other thing is how much I fucking like that controller. Like even before I started playing with it, it just fits in my hand. I think it's my favorite controller like ever as far as like comfort and like where the buttons are. I really like it.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same
It's a really
camp.
good controller.
As soon as I opened it up and felt it, I was like, "Oh, this is nice." I was worried about it being awkward and clunky and just one of these like weird, like, "Oh, am I holding a noodle? What is this?" But instead, it's like this is a perfectly formed piece of technology to game with.
Yeah, especially because when I recorded like my unboxing for that one, like I was obviously before I plugged it in, I was kind of just like testing it out and holding it. And I held the PS4 controller next to it. I was like, it already feels better. But I remember like one of the initial comments, I was like, oh, the face buttons felt a bit squishy, but then like using them in the game, they feel fantastic. But I think one of the best things, because I remember loads of people were like pre-launch were obviously like hyping up like, oh, this haptic feedback feels great. And the first game that I played through was Miles Morales, which it has an element of it, but honestly in like Spider-Man, it just feels more just like Rumble. And I played a bit of Godfall, and obviously I felt some feedback and stuff, but again, it just felt more just like controller Rumble. Have any of you guys actually taken the time to play Astro's Playroom?
I have.
Yes.
Because
I various times was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yes.
Oh my god!
I had like a big shit-eating grin on my face while I was playing that game too.
That like I only played it because I was like, someone was like, "Oh, you can get a platinum trophy in 3 hours." I was like, "I'm making a guide in this. So let me go and do that." But then in the process of doing it, I was like, "This is the best tech demo." Like it's such. I love 3D platform anyway. It's just like a little slice of like Mario Sunshine in the PlayStation. But when they demonstrate, the one that blew my mind was when it's like, oh, the rocket thrusters, where like. They're legitimately like your triggers are stuck for a minute while it's like vibrating, and then suddenly it loosens up, it goes and it's like the boost is going. I was like, this level of now I understand when they were saying like, oh, when you do get to play things like Horizon, you're going to feel that taut bowstring, or like when you go over like rough terrain in the ground, like it's actually quite hard to press the triggers. I'm like, okay, now I see what people are talking about, and that's impressive. But
that's a big deal. It makes a big difference. I was in like a sandstorm, and you can feel it like pushing against you in the controller, which is crazy.
Oh, that's really cool. I need to play Astros. I haven't done that yet, but with Godfall, there, the trigger stiffens when you're like not doing the combo correctly or something like that.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, So it gives you.
Is that what it is? Is that when it does it? Because I could not figure out when it was doing it.
Yeah, when you're not doing the combo correctly, I believe people can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, when your timing's off, it stiffens to give you feedback that hey, you're jamming it too hard.
I didn't notice that for a long time because I was using Polearm, and Polearm doesn't have any of that like feedback in it at all. But then when I use the sword and I do the heavy trigger combo, you can feel it after the first move in that combo. You can feel it.
I want to talk more about
push it down.
I want to talk more about Godfall, but I want to talk a little bit about Astro first.
Oh yeah.
Astro, I gotta say, this game. This is the third game that this team has made with like the Astros. The first one, it was also a tech demo that came with the PlayStation 4. The second one was kind of a tech demo that came out with PlayStation VR, or it came after, but it was a full game. And this is like the third time we've seen this team at work, and they are fucking good. Like these guys know how to make a really fun game, and this one obviously is pretty short. You said you got the platinum in 3 hours?
Yeah.
3 hours, so that's a pretty short game, but goddamn, it's a fun game to play.
So
Astro himself is so goddamn charming.
He's cute, so cute.
I love all like the Easter eggs and those nostalgia throwbacks. Like you're walking around, you see like the Monster Hunter guys at the camp, and like Nero just like swinging off his like sword and stuff. Yeah, it's so cool.
My favorite one where I squealed was I saw a guy with a box on his head, so I punched him. And then it does the Metal Gear Solid sound of when you get spotted. That sound that it does, and I was like, "Oh, yes."
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a nostalgic trip. Like if you've been a PlayStation player for a long time. But man, Astro himself is just—he's so fun to control. Like the game perfectly uses the controller and all the new features of the controller. It looks really good too.
Nice.
It's a nice thing to get that for free, like, hey,
yeah. Even in the stage where, like, even some of the more subtle things, like there's an area where it rains and he has like a little umbrella that pops out his head, and then you feel the raindrops just like on your controller. I'm just like, this is cool, man. Like,
that's kind of the underrated feature of the controller, right? Is that it not only has those adaptive triggers, but it also has really good like high definition rumble or whatever you call it, where you can really feel the difference. Is it's not just like a rumble. It's like you can hear it like tap, 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 or you can hear it like sand hitting something. You can hear or feel like you can feel like these things in a much higher definition way than just like a rumble kind of thing.
I'm really excited to see more games take advantage of that. Like I'd love to see Destiny take advantage of that and like have various guns feel different from the trigger and how they shoot.
I do wonder how much development time third parties will put into it. Like if like a Destiny where it's they're making the game for PlayStation, Xbox, PC. Like how much time are they going to develop to just this thing that's going to be on PS5? Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Just this feature.
Yeah. But it's really nice.
But games that come out like God of War 2, like I would definitely assume that they're going to put some time into it.
It adds a lot to the experience when those things feel that like that crispy quality to it, I kind of wish Godfall had more definition in their stuff, because the haptic like trigger feedback type of thing is really cool, but I didn't feel as much of a difference between like the different weapons. And I know that's blending into the conversation of Godfall, and I want to get there in a second, but I do want to bring up that I did have issues with my PS5, and a lot of people have been having issues.
Oh, me too.
It has to do with the so apparently sleep mode is problematic with the PS5 right now, and mine worked perfectly fine for the first day. I was like, cool. Then I went into sleep mode. Then I started streaming, and then like a half hour in, it just suddenly shut off. And I was like, do I have a dead PS5? Good God. I couldn't turn it back on or anything like that.
That's why I bought a backup.
So that's why I have a second one right to my side. Right? So I had to completely unplug the power cable, plug it back in, and then it got a power cycle going, and basically had like a low level system crash going on. So I was like, oh, all right. And then it did it again 30 or 10, 20 minutes later. I was like, oh my God. And then did it again. I was like, crap. So finally, in order to fix this, I had to do a full on power cycle from the actual menu. So
like a restart.
Yeah. Whatever cache level stuff that's in the console on the low level operating system is not being cleared out when it fully restarts, or when it starts back up from that crash state. So if anybody out there is experiencing this, you just have to do a full power cycle, and then don't let it go into sleep mode.
Yeah,
hopefully this is a software thing.
Well, I've heard that it's due to like the memory leak or something's going on with it. But I had the same thing. I was playing, it shut down. I was like, and I think that was like right before your tweet came out, Tefty, about actually shutting it off. So I was like, okay, when I get it back up, I'm going to shut it all down. And since turning it off completely, it's been fine.
Perfectly fine. Yeah. So it's
I had a smaller problem that was related to the same thing, where I was playing Godfall, and all of a sudden, every time an item would drop out of an enemy, the game would hitch up.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the memory.
So I restarted, and it went away. But then, like later on, I continued to use the sleep function, and it came back.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I was gonna say, so that I'm pretty sure is just a straight up memory leak in the game itself.
In Godfall,
I think it's actually
unrelated to the sleep mode.
Yeah, I think it's on PC as well, but luckily on PS5 it's like, oh crap, I got to restart the game. oh, I got to restart
30
the game.
seconds later, you're playing. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
done.
I was like, every time I start seeing that kind of hitching happen, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna fully turn it off, turn it back on, and it's so fast. Obviously, it's not great to have to keep doing that, but you avoid crashes, you avoid having all that hitching.
Yeah, the hitching.
We're
is
gonna
very
complain.
annoying.
I'd also like to complain about their video modes because they are like obtuse and they don't describe what it's actually doing at all, and it constantly resets back to automatic. Obviously, this is going to be a problem that applies to people who are constantly unplugging it and plugging it back into different displays and capture cards more than other people. But even when I have it plugged into the same TV, the next time I boot it back up, sometimes some of the settings that I've changed go back to automatic. And like there's this weird like HDMI setting where it says 0, -1, and -2, which doesn't describe what it's doing at all, but it's actually changing the video output in pretty significant ways. And like, why wouldn't it just say what it's doing instead of just being this like -1, -2 thing? You know, I think it's going from like, you know, like really different video settings, and sometimes it makes stuff work, which is great.
Yeah.
But it'd be so much easier. Like, I know what my video card or my TV is compatible with. Why don't you just put what it is? You know, because it's, you know, it's listed in your manual or on the box of your TV what it's compatible
Right. Well, I think, you know, we're experiencing early adopter launch day symptoms right now. And
True. Absolutely.
like one of those is there's literally no customization in the menu.
Yeah.
You know, which was kind of weird. Like coming from a generation of PS4 with all these different menu or themes and all that you get. Yeah. And then PS5 is like, nope, we ain't launching with that.
This is the downside of getting a brand new UI, right? It's like Xbox has the same UI as the Xbox One, but you know how to do it. You know what things mean. You know how to do things.
Yeah.
That's, you know, on the downside, it doesn't feel fresh and new, but on the good side, it's, you know, it's been worked out.
Exactly, right?
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
With the PlayStation 5, it's got some really good features. You can set it's for inverted thumbsticks.
Right.
On a system menu.
Globally.
You can set your preference for game difficulty on a system menu, on a system level. You can even set subtitles on a system level. You know,
That's
like
awesome.
you always play with subtitles, like, and I always do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad I could just set that. I don't have to go in every game and go invert thumbsticks and, you know, put on subtitles. I prefer to play on, you know, normal mode or easy mode or hard mode or, you know, that kind of stuff. I love that. And that's not something I've seen since the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I really like it. I'm aside from the issues that I've had, it's like a really awesome next gen feeling console. That's massive.
And it's so pretty.
Sitting
Like,
next
it's so
to
pretty.
My PC.
Yeah, it's super cool looking.
The UI is super clean. Everything is fast. Everything looks great. Yeah, I've been, besides having to avoid those issues, I've really loved it.
Yeah.
And the games. It has
games.
Like I cannot decide which game I want to play first. Demon's Souls, I've only gotten to put about an hour into. I put 16 hours into Godfall. I've put no hours into Miles Morales. I basically went in, looked at the windows, and saw all the ray tracers. I was like, that looks dope. And then, like, you know, like, I've got games that I haven't even tried out yet. It's such, in contrast to the Xbox launch where there's just very few new games. This feels like there's too many games for me to possibly get through.
Yeah.
You know, like
I had to blitz through Miles. I finished that in about 10 hours. Miles is only quite short anyway. You can do that easily on like a day or a weekend. That was a great game. But yeah, I did the same kind of thing. I did Miles, and then obviously I played like a little bit of Demon's Souls for the first like hour. It's like, this game looks fantastic. Died a lot. Was like, I'll come back to this later. And then obviously I've been playing a lot of Godfall and stuff. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's one of the strongest launch lineups I've ever seen. Like in my lifetime of like, you know, I've always been interested in this stuff. I've always been trying, like, since my adult life, I've been trying to get launch day consoles. But I don't remember ever having a launch day this strong. It's just,
well, in terms of exclusives,
there's so many.
In terms of exclusive though, it's Demon's Souls, Miles Morales, and
there's the Sackboy.
Oh, Sackboy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sackboy. Yeah.
That does actually look adorable.
Actually, Bugsnax is on.
That's nice. I played the first hour of Sackboy as well. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've got that. I haven't even installed it yet. And Godfall it's a console exclusive.
But it's kind of tough to.
It's coming out in 6 months, or apparently it's coming out in 6 months for Xbox. But you know, like all the multi-platform games are also there. So it's like if I wanted to play Valhalla on the PlayStation 5, which apparently is better.
Oh, really?
On a technical level, like according to like some offhand remarks from people who test these kind of things, Digital Foundry. Which is kind of surprising based on the power, like the proposed power, like what we know of the power between the two consoles. But also, I guess Capcom has said it's kind of difficult to adjust development from the Xbox One to the Xbox 4. It's because it's a little more different than going from a PS4 to a PS5. So it may take developers longer to really harness the power of the Xbox 4. Which is interesting. You know, in a year, I don't think it's going to make much difference at all. And I think that's really when we can expect to start seeing the heavy hitters come out for the Xbox 4.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but I mean, there's just so much software available for the PlayStation 5. It's a cornucopia.
I don't really feel like there's a ton of software available, personally.
No, really?
No, because like I said, like technically there's 3 titles, maybe 4 titles if you include Astros.
Exclusives.
Yeah, that you can't play.
But there's also all the third-party stuff.
Yeah, but like you can play that on Xbox, you can play it on PC also. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
that's true.
When I factor those type of things in, I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean there's a few things. I'm still very hyped as like a new launch console type of thing. It feels like, you know, like Christmas right now because of Godfall, because of Demon Souls, like and Miles Morales. Those are like the things that feel like Christmas right now, but I don't feel like there's just like an endless supply. And also like Cyberpunk isn't going to have the next gen stuff until sometime next year. So even Cyberpunk isn't.
Yeah, but you were planning on playing that on PC anyway.
When I found that out, I was planning on playing on PS5, and then when I found out that they weren't going to have the next gen update until next year, then I was like, hit the brakes. We have to get.
I'm not playing that game without ray tracing.
Good God, I have to have my ray tracing on that. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't feel like there's actually a huge amount of next gen stuff. In fact, with Destiny not being updated yet, and you know, but I'm still like thrilled and hyped about the experience of the PS5, like the controller and like playing Godfall on PS5. I made that choice. I could have played it on PC or on PS5. I decided on PS5 because I wanted to see how the controller felt for a game like that with the haptics and all that, you know. And I'm very happy.
I feel like it's an awesome lineup because it's got the exclusives, but it's also got the third party support. You know, like, and getting Call of Duty to run at 120 FPS, I think is really cool. That's on both consoles.
That is really cool.
Valhalla, you know, launch day. That's a huge launch day game. Both consoles, right? So there's a bunch of like, you know, there's those games, but then also like the addition of having Astro's Playroom, Miles Morales, Devil's Demon Souls,
Soul,
Sackboy. Like, I just feel like there's a ton of different experiences and like a bunch of different genres, and like, I don't know. It just feels like a really good Dirt 5. You know, that's a multi-platform.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. I think when you put it that way, it's like in lots of different like areas. I think it's kind of almost like it's quite a clever launch because it's almost like normally you have like 1 or 2 things that are the key launch titles. And you think, all right, cool. Let's say for example, Xbox had Halo. But all right, if you're a Halo guy, you like that kind of thing, you'll play it. Whereas I think you hit the nail on the head when it's like the different experiences. You could almost, no matter the kind of games you play, you could buy a PS5 at launch and you'd be like, all right, I like the kind of super hard games. All right, I'm gonna play Demon Souls. Oh, I really like my movie games. I want to play Spider-Man. You know, I like my platformers. I want to play this. It does feel like for once you can pick up a console and most people, no matter their gaming preferences, will have something they can play on launch day, which is quite cool. Whereas a lot of the time it's normally like, I don't need it. Because I've had some people that, you know, some friends that are like, oh, you know what, I do want to pick up a PS5, but the launch lineup, you know, they're not games that I'm necessarily going to play, so I'll pick it up next year, you know. And that's normally what happens in my mind when it comes to like a console launch. But yeah, this has been pretty broad, I think. Which is nice.
Well, let's talk about Godfall.
Please, let's talk about Godfall.
Let's talk about Godfall.
I've been having fun with Godfall.
I love this broken game.
Yeah, that is the best way to describe it. It's like it is by no means in any way perfect, but there's a lot of fun to be had. Like it's
fun.
Yeah,
it's just fun.
I've been telling people, I've been like, this is not game of the year. All right. So it is by no means a game of the year material, but it is fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
This game, I mean, the story is basically like a throwaway. I think the the best piece of dialogue I heard in the entire game was when you get this like long kind of like whatever you gotta. This could be like one of the characters like kind of brings up like this whole process is probably gonna kill me, but it could make me a god. And you go talk to another character, and they're like, they just whistle like
yeah, he just whistles. Yeah.
They laughed out loud like. He literally thinks about this whole story like I do. Like, who gives a shit? Let's go kill some shit.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyways, I started slashing.
I'm like, I don't know, something about my brother is bad. I'm gonna go kill some people. Great.
Like, is it his real brother, like by blood, or they just call like everybody who wears this armor brothers? Like, I don't even know. Like, they never really got into it. I killed the guy. I don't even know.
Video for the lore.
Maybe. I don't think I need to. I don't think I care. But the slashing at first, like I was like, I don't know if I like how this feels, right? Because I just come off of Ghost of Tsushima, which is similar. And one of the weird things about it is like you can't control the direction of your attack with your left thumbstick. You have to swing the camera around and direct your attack using the right stick. And I was like, that feels really odd after coming off of Ghost of Tsushima. Also, it's like really fast paced and like bombastic, where Ghost of Tsushima was really much more
calculated.
I don't know, calculated. But as I kind of got used to it and I got used to moving that camera around, you know, to do my attacks, I really was having fun and like unlocking abilities and.
And that's the thing. It's definitely like the very first time I jumped in it, because obviously, you know, I've been like looking forward to this for ages. And like the first time I jumped into it, I did the tutorial. The tutorial is it's quite weird because in this game, the tutorial, and I know they can't throw everything at you, and like other games do this, right? But at least in other games, you unlock abilities, whereas in this game, you can also unlock more combo parts. So the tutorial gives you the bare bones version of a weapon, right? And then you're thrown into it. So you're almost. That first 40 minutes is probably like the worst part of the game because I feel like it doesn't do a good job of being like, this is the fun you can have. Like you jump into it and it caught me off guard because just before Godfall, I've been playing in very different games, but I've been playing Valhalla, right? Obviously, Valhalla's got a traditional lock-on system whereby if you're locked onto the enemy and I'm facing that way and I press RB, he's going to turn around and hit the enemy. That's how lock-on works. Lock-on in this game is like, no.
You don't use it. I found it to be obtuse, basically.
That's the thing. It basically doesn't work. So I went into this expecting a typical like, especially considering you know they when they beforehand they described it as like, oh, God of War meets DMC. So I'm like, all right, DMC lock on. I'm gonna get zipped to the enemy. It's like, no, there's no zipping. So it took me some time to kind of get used to that motion, get used to that. But then once I got past tutorial, once I got to say like level 5, and I was able to unlock like my timing attacks and like my key abilities and the ability to like do a slide dash, because that first dodge where you just do a little twirl, I'm like, that's weird.
Slide dash is like the first thing.
Get that.
I think
first,
you mentioned
honestly.
it. You mentioned it on Thursday, so I got it like while we were in that chat, and I was like, oh this is a game changer.
Like your dodge is awkward. Just get your first point in finesse and just be happy from that.
Yeah.
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
But once you get that one in place, and then you start to get like your flows down, you start to understand like the first time I discovered timing attacks, like at first I was like, oh, what's this? And then suddenly I was like, wait, there are more combos that the game doesn't tell me about? I'm like, okay, this is cool. And now I just love the way combat feels.
Yeah.
Combat is really deep. I think it's quite easy to look at Godfall and go like, oh, so you just press, you know, like R1, R2, and then that's kind of it. But combat is really deep. You have so many things to think about. You know, you have Soul Shatter, which is where part of their health bar goes white, and you can take all that damage away with an R2. You have your shield attacks, which you can fully spec into if you want. You have
that Soul Shatter. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that Soul Shatter, I think, solves a problem for me that a lot of games like the R1. The quick attack is obviously the way to go, like 99% of the time, because you're so vulnerable, but with R2. But because of that Soul Shatter, it pays off so much to use R2 that I use it all the time. As in most games, I don't use it hardly at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've kind of had a similar experience with that as well. And you've got like switching weapons, which polarity attacks, switch weapons and get more damage on your other weapon. You've got like banners that you can place down that do totally different things and add stats to you. The combat is really deep. And if you want to take advantage of that, you can. And I suggest you do because it's really fun. Weak points are amazing. That feels great to hit a weak point. It's all great.
There's some stuff though that's like inexplicable. Like there's all these different types of damage. Like you can have like water damage, fire damage, earth damage.
Elementals.
As far as I can tell, they all exactly the same. They just do DOT. So you just it doesn't matter which one you spec into. You should just spec into one and like make sure that like all your gear kind of supports just that one. But it doesn't actually matter which one you spec into, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, that's some kind of things that will apply to almost like the Valor plates as well, because that was one of the things that was sort of like a bit of a letdown for me. Like, I love the way that the Valor plates look, because that's the thing. Like combat in this game, it's great. Visually, this game is very impressive. But I remember obviously like prior to launch, obviously we had like interviews, had some information about like Valor plates and how they'd be different, and I expected them to be quite drastically different. But then when you actually look at them and realize that most of their Archon modes are like, they all do the same thing. It's like, oh, this applies water effect, this applies thunder effect, this applies fire effect. This one creates totems. This one also creates totems. It's like there's actually only really like 3 permutations of Valor plate. There's like a wave of damage, a totem, or some spirit versions of you. That was a bit of a letdown, because I mean, I'm just like, now the design, and they are statistically slightly different. Like they've got different augment constellations, they've got different stat distributions. But really, when you really boil it down to it, maybe when you get to like the absolute upper echelon, you're like 100 floors deep in the ascended tower, and you really need to have like a perfectly min-max build. But I feel like a lot of the time you can basically just pick the Valor plate you like the look of, and it doesn't really matter.
I agree.
I
would have liked to see what's the R3 L3 super evolved Archon mode. I would have liked to see each Valor plate get a very specific,
like a big crazy super, like a Destiny super,
because it takes forever to build that up, and like it would have been like I felt like I would have loved a big reward for it, like a Destiny style super,
payoff for it.
I think the most dramatic thing it changes is your gender. Right? It's like suddenly I'm a woman now. Suddenly I'm a man now. They still call me Orin. Nobody seems to have noticed.
I know, right? I was like,
I'm Orin. That's me.
I was like, okay, a little weird.
I'd like to see Bife's video about that.
True. I think with making builds and stuff with a Valor plate, it's really just pick the one you think looks cool and then make stuff around it. So I noticed, like when I picked Bug Lady, she's great. She looks great. And when I have that and a shock weapon, I'm applying shock all the damn time. So if you just spec into one, then it's really good. It actually really makes me want to make and spec into the weak point Valor plate, because that's very different, right? When you pop Archon Fury on that Valor plate, it exposes weak points on the enemy, and you can hit the weak points.
You don't even need that one, because right at the beginning of the game, one of my friends got like just a really low level artifact that you slot in, where anytime you activate your Northern Technique, it just reveals the weak point. So it's that whole Valor plate is
well, I haven't gotten that thing, so
true.
That's a good point though too, is that the loot system, I really enjoy the loot system. It does that thing where it gives you a ton of loot that you're never going to use because it's like way under your level. But when you do get stuff that is your level or above your level, you're constantly looking at like, okay, what's this do? Oh my god, it does 50% extra damage on my my shield throw, or it does 50% more damage on my northern attack. Like, whoa, like it does dramatic things.
Yeah. Well, one thing I really appreciate though is that they make it so any loot that does drop has the option of going all the way to legendary if you want to invest in it. So if you do get a particular weapon with a particular stat already that you really like, you're like, oh, well, this is this is uncommon. You want to make it rare and possibly go all the way up to legendary. You can, which I think is badass. That's really smart. Yeah. So you technically,
I think I'm missing this because I've only been able to upgrade it 5 times.
No. So upgrades is different from enchantments.
Enchanting.
Yeah, enchantments upgrades the rarity. So you can go all the way from green to legendary if you spend the resources. It does get expensive, but well, actually, it's not terribly expensive. The higher level you get, it's more expensive. But the once you do that, like you can look around then see if something is gonna synergize and be like, oh, that would be perfect with this build, and it's. Right now, it's uncommon or rare.
Yeah.
That's an amazing way to fix that problem. Then that's a
good.
Huge deal.
I was surprised. I was like, oh, this means that all the loot that drops is technically interesting right now because I might want to be.
Where do you interface with that? I haven't even seen that option.
It's in the Forge. You know the Forge where you go to upgrade.
Yeah,
I missed it for ages as well. But when you go to the Forge, instead of pressing upgrade, there's a second option that just says press enchant, and you just enchant instead. So.
Yeah, I got some work to do.
You've been deleting all that gear.
Yeah, I have been. I probably deleted some good stuff.
Might have had some
I want to know what weapons people are using, and if is there a build that you've kind of
I don't know the names, man. Like the names are.
just like the type of weapon.
So for me, I am clearly a hammer / greatsword user. The hammer just is nice. I run in, I slam, and then I hit the R2, and it's like I've just got this rhythm right now that is just really nice and satisfying, and also the haptic feedback I really like on the hammer because I feel like I'm actually wielding a hammer. You know, I've tried the other weapons, and I definitely do not like them as much as the hammer and the greatsword. Right now, both of those make me feel like I'm playing Godfall right now.
I like the hammer and the polearm combo because with the hammer, like you almost feel like you're getting like area of effect with that hammer swing.
Yeah,
because it's so satisfying to swing, as hammers always are in video games.
Absolutely,
like, I'm kind of a hammer guy anyway. Like I'm predisposed to hammers.
Yeah,
but the polearm is really fun too because it's faster, and some enemies like it can be really nice to have a faster attack. But it's also got like that throw to it, which I really like as well. Even though a lot of the weapons kind of have a long range attack, but usually you go with it.
Yeah.
But with the polearm, you just throw like a javelin, so you kind of stay at a safe distance. Like, and in some of the boss fights, I had problems with some of the boss fights, and that polearm throw could really help with some of them. You know,
polearm as well. Like when you get the timing attack, the one where you just teleport behind the enemy with the polearm, I'm like, oh, that's.
Oh, I haven't done that yet. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so that one's really cool. I think it's the light attack. Like you just pause and then you do that, and then you literally just dash behind the enemy. So that's really good. But yeah, hammer is I'm also definitely a hammer main. But the thing is, I recently switched back to because I used it at the beginning of the game. Like you use the longsword, and you're like, longsword's the weapon they teach you. Use, like whatever. It's not very exciting. Then I went back when I discovered timing attacks, and the timing attack for the sword. The longsword.
They're really cool.
When you just do the pause one and then he just does the fast slash, but then it ends with another pause that you can go straight back into the fast slash. It's basically easy mode because in the boss you can effectively do an infinite combo, and I'm just stuck at the side of the boss going pause, pause, and it's just like, okay, this guy's dead. It's just nuts, but just building stuff up. So I've been running hammer and longsword now.
Nice.
I pretty much exclusively use polearm. I switch every now and then to the sword, so I'm using polearm and longsword. But yeah, polearm has been my jam. But I actually have a shield build. So shield is kind of like my primary weapon,
shield
to be
is pretty
honest,
badass.
and then polearm there. So I kind of thought that would go well together because the polearm has the long range attacks that you can throw, and the shield also has that. So I can throw my shield, which does a ton of damage, and throw the polearm, and that's really nice. The shield didn't expect for me to be like, I'm gonna just spec into shield, but it's really fun. The shield has a lot of attacks, and a lot of them are really freaking cool.
You can use it quite frequently too once you've kind of spec'd into it.
My favorite ability actually is throwing the shield, doing the circle thing, and then doing the timing attack. So when it gets back to you, hit it again, and it just does an explosion around everything. I'm like,
that's cool.
It's just badass, man. They get knocked down. You run up, you do the assassination on them, then you do like a heavy attack. That's great.
That fucking shield attack where you throw it like that. There's two shield attacks you could buy. One is like a shield bash where you just like bash it against the. Like you're holding on to it and you jump forward, and the other one is that one where you spin it so I switched again. Watts told me that same day on Thursday that you could switch the dodge button to be circle instead of the default X, which was really messing me up because Ghost of Tsushima mainly. I put 112 hours into Ghost of Tsushima.
Everything is
with a circle
dodge. Okay?
Circle
dodge is every video game.
Yeah, but the UI does not know that I changed it. So
yes.
I was reading the how to do that circle smash thing, and I'm like, I'm doing it right. I'm doing it exactly like they said, but I kept doing the bash thing, and I got really frustrated until I unlocked the bash, and it told me, and I was like, oh, I see what happened here. That's really annoying.
I had that same thing happen yesterday where I was like, okay, so I unlocked a petrifying slam, which is where you slam the shield on the floor. And then I unlocked another ability where I can do a second slam. But so it's telling me how to do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm trying. I'm like, it's not working. It's just broken. It's just not working. And it was the exact same thing that I had switched it around. So I didn't know which button to press. I was like, that's the petrifying slam. I've never used it because I never knew what the actual button was.
That's why I didn't switch the buttons, because I was worried that the interface wasn't going to update. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to live with it.
Is, if you go to the training room, it updates, but it doesn't update in the UI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's updated in the training room.
The thing about
I had to change that because with Demon Souls, it's circle as well. So, and I kept hitting the wrong button in both games. Like,
right,
it was inexplicable.
The shield is funny. It's funny. Well, the shield is one of those things that, like, only recently, like a lot of the way throughout the majority of the game, I was like, shield's alright, whatever. And then I finally put some like spec into it. But the thing that I like the most about the shield is not even using the shield as a weapon, just the one where you throw the shield and then you teleport to the location.
Yes.
Because now I feel like an actual god, because I'll be fighting something, like I'll be fighting a group of enemies and I'll see them over there and I'm just like, shield, bam, over there, and I'm just like, this feels so cool. Like now I feel like I'm just everywhere on the battlefield.
That's the ability right there. Plus it gets you close to them to do the R3 finish on them, so you don't have to be like, oh wait, running over.
Yeah, and I play opposite, so I'm breach. I'm a breach fellow player anyway. So the second I run up to someone, knock it on the floor, I'm just like, bam, dead.
That's good. I haven't unlocked that yet. That's cool.
Oh, it's so good. There's also a shield attack where you just press L1 and R1, and it will use a little bit of your shield meter, and you just like smack them in the face with the shield. So if you spec into shield damage, you can just like pow, pow, pow.
That's
and
really
there's also
cool.
a timing attack with the shield. So you can really make use of the shield even without full shield charge.
I want to talk also about the mission structure, and I was not expecting this.
Monster Hunter.
Dude, I was like,
it's like Monster Hunter Light.
It's Monster Hunter World, like mission structure. This is so cool because the very first intro mission really they really didn't do a good job of explaining how the game is going to feel with that intro mission, because I was like, this is going to feel like an old school slasher where you go through the corridors,
an old school like dungeon crawler.
That's what I was thinking, right?
Thing. Yeah,
and then you get into the first open world, or I mean, open world in quotations, but like the first area. And I was like, wow, this is really big, expansive. What's going on here? And I was like, you probably just come back here and check out other stuff. And then I realized it's like Monster Hunter World, where you get a mission, you go in, and then you can just hang out and do more stuff. Go collect loot. Go unlock these like special mithril chests that are around and all that.
And they have timers too. Like you gotta kill this guy in like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, for like the bounty
gotta
stuff.
get it done.
Yeah, the bounty. Yeah, like an actual hunt. Like in Monster Hunter World. Yeah.
Going on.
That was definitely that was definitely cool. I think that's sort of like I like that structure to it, but I think that is also one of the like potential problems to kind of like be honest about the game as well, because when you kind of start blitzing through that content, you realize that at the core the gameplay is so much fun, but it feels like there's not a great deal to do outside that point. It's kind of that thing where like I've had a ton of fun playing through it. I've invested a lot of time into it, kind of got to the end game, but it does definitely suffer in a similar way to what a lot of these games have done recently, where short of grinding to get some weapons, there's not really a reason to grind the end game now. It's like you got to end game, you've had some fun with it, you've done the stuff like that. Like you've got an ultra difficult version of the tower that never ends, that obviously just going to get progressively more difficult until you die. And it's like, tower's cool, but there's only so many times you just want to go up a floor and just lay waste to enemies and kind of come back again. And obviously you got the Dreamstone, so you can refight some of the bosses. So there's a couple of cool things to do, but I think the problem is at the moment it's just that there's fun to be had, but there's just not a great breadth of content. I feel like they would have been, and obviously again, maybe it's like development time and whatnot within the year, but I think that is the one thing that like the Monster Hunter structure is cool, but then when you suddenly look at the map and you realize that it is like each area's got maybe 4 or 5 nodes that you can kind of do, and then you're like, well, I've basically done them all. That is where it kind of highlights the sort of the bare bones content aspect.
I feel like once I finished the story and I was confronted with, okay, here's the end game, I was kind of like, I'm probably done with this until the DLC comes out. And like when the DLC comes out, I'll probably pick it back up.
How long did it take you to finish the campaign?
I was able to check on PS5 because it's got a game clock, 16 hours. And probably 8 hours was on the last boss.
Whoa, really?
It wasn't, not really. It was probably, I probably failed like 3 or 4 times. Another weird thing is the difficulty is hidden in that game. It's not that hidden, but like, and sometimes I felt like it reset on its own.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I always check, like, go back in, select hard, and then load it up every single time.
Yeah, it's not ultra clear like which one you have selected. Did it actually accept my command? Unless you die, and then because it says you got two lives left or whatever.
Right.
That's what I kept saying. Is I would love something, where you're selecting the mission, if it just said something easy, normal, hard, so you know what it's currently selected on.
Yeah. And easy mode is the default, and it's way too easy to the point where it's kind of not fun.
Yeah, enemies don't really move much, right? It's just like every now and then they might hit you.
Yeah. So it's like you really want to play on at least, I think, moderate, but really hard mode is the way to go, because it just like there's this weird thing when you're fighting a boss that you can die when you're fighting a boss and respawn, and the boss is still got the health that you took off gone.
Yep.
Yeah, because the boss have those little notches where, like, if you get beneath that notch, that's basically like a save point for the health bar.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where in hard mode, when you have 3 lives and that's it, it makes sense. But in easy mode or normal mode, I don't know if I actually didn't play a lot of like the medium one, but I believe in the other two is like you just keep going back and trying over and over again.
Was that not a bug?
It trivializes it. I don't think so.
I think it's intentional because genuinely there were a couple of times when I messed up, but like I noticed that if you'll see that all their health bars are divided, and the second it gets below the arrow gets below, if you die and come back, that's the part that it resets at.
Okay.
It really trivializes the boss fights to the point where, like, I really like. I'm not normally like a hard mode gamer. Like, it doesn't interest me to be frustrated, but this game kind of like it doesn't. It's almost like playing poker without money, you know. Like it just doesn't work.
Definitely, hard mode is the way to go, because as we were talking about combat, right? Combat feels deep. There's a lot to do in combat, but if the content is not difficult enough to force you to use all the things at your disposal, then there's no point in the combat being deep. So I think hard mode really makes sense for the combat. You can really appreciate and get a good time out of the combat.
And it's not like Dark Souls hard, right? No. It's not. It doesn't ever get to like. It's never going to be like Sekiro, where you're just like, I'm never going to actually be good enough to do this. Like you will be, and you're leveling up constantly, so you do more damage. You know, like if you feel like you're really getting stuck. I had a lot of trouble with the second boss, the Waterworld boss, which I almost quit the game at that point because, it took me a bunch of tries to finally beat it. And then when I did beat it, the game bugged. And like it didn't finish. You know how after you beat the boss, it says, you know, mission completed, and then you can go in and say, you know, go back to the thing. Well, that never came up, so just thought I was still fighting the boss. And I was really mad because it actually took me a while to beat that boss. It took me like a bunch of tries because it was hard. It was like I think it was the first hard battle I'd been in. And I was excited to have beaten it, and then I was like really let down. Like, oh, it bugged out, and now I'm just sitting here, and I have to reset it, and then do the fight over again. I was like, I almost quit. I almost said, "Fuck this game. I'm not doing it anymore." But I'm glad I did go through it.
I had that boss glitch out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I died and then came back, and then the boss was just standing there not doing anything, and I was like, I could kill it this way, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna reset it. So I ended up resetting and killing it normally, but it was actually a fun fight too. The whole balls and all that.
I like the boss fights. I like all of the boss fights except for that one fucker, the dog thing that like throws sand up and you can't see anything.
That's where you got to use your vision thingy, man, if you really want to see him.
Hated it.
Or just be locked on.
But there was a lot of bugs in this game. You know, it feels like another bit in the oven probably wouldn't have hurt. Hopefully when the next DLC comes out or when the first DLC comes out, some of that'll be ironed out.
Oh yeah, on my boss fight, the big bad boss, I had a tether that would attach to me. It's a bug. It was a tether just attached to my pole arm the entire time. So you just see this strand attached to me, like I'm some type of robot baby.
The guy who would like tether you and then like disappear after a while or whatever.
No, I don't know if you've got to the boss. It's he's a fire guy. He's very that comparison.
Is he the air realm?
But he's fire.
Is he an air realm?
Yeah, he's air realm. Fire guy.
Yeah.
Air realm.
Yeah.
That guy is cool. You're not talking about the last boss. You're talking about the kind of the forge guy.
Well, I don't remember what his name is.
I don't remember anybody's name except for Orin. Who
the Godsmith Forge Master man.
The Godsmith. That guy is cool. Like that is a cool boss fight too. And then the final boss fight, I almost thought was a little anticlimactic compared to that guy. The final boss just spams like abilities at you, but isn't as cool as the Forge Master. Yeah.
I haven't been there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be tethered, but it was quite distracting initially, and then I just had to try and look past it, but I just had this line attached to my pole arm the entire time.
It's an interesting game to launch besides like right next to Demon Souls, because like on some levels they're very similar, but on some levels they couldn't be more different, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a similar combat style, but very different takes on it. It's fun. I think Tefty, you nailed it. This isn't Game of the Year material, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things that like there's definitely a lot of things that need to be like addressed and improved and whatnot. But I think one of the things that almost makes me more forgiving of it right now is that you can very quickly, I always call it like a casual loot experience. You can jump in, and if you want to, you can have some fun in Godfall for 20 minutes. You can just jump in, be in a mission, bam, run to the heart of it, and like get some loot and then like go off and have your lunch if you need to, or you could play it for like longer. So I guess in that respect, it's like, yeah, if anyone was like, oh, you know, should I be picking up this game? It's like if you're expecting like a hyper deep like Diablo, Destiny level looter that you're going to sink thousands of hours into, it's probably not that game.
Yeah.
But if you appreciate, if at the heart of like, it depends on what is the number one thing for you. If at the heart of your gaming is like, I just appreciate cool combat and I just want to hit some things, see some stuff explode and have some fun for like 20, 30 hours, then 100%, I think there's fun to be had in it. But yeah, it's just, I think it's just important to say, because I think a lot of people, again, despite the fact they tried to sort of communicate this before launch, I think a lot of people went in assuming that it was a game as a service. It's not a game as a service. Like it is a finite game that you can complete. And I think if everyone goes into it like realizing that and then be like, okay, cool, you know what, it's a shorter game with some fun combat, some loot I can get, make some builds, then you can do that. But yeah, if you you have to know what you're going into for Godfall, because yeah, if you're just like, oh, loot, sweet, there's my next 1,000 hours, like no.
Yeah.
Also, I bought the Ascended version, which costs $100, and it comes with a bunch of weapons. Don't buy that. It actually ruins the loot game for like the first 5-6 hours, because it gives you right off the bat like the most powerful gear that you could possibly be using in the game. So you don't interact with any of the other weapons for the first like 5 or 6 hours. Maybe even longer, honestly.
Ages.
Yeah, that's too bad. I ended up buying the regular one.
I hate when games do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want to buy like the cool version, right? Like I don't mind paying extra for a game, especially if you're gonna give me extra stuff. But
don't break your loot system.
Like discount, don't break your loot. Like I think Demon Souls is going through this right now too. You can buy like the $90 version of Demon Souls, and it comes with weapons and armor that are like really fucking good.
Oh
yeah, that it really does. It kind of ruins games when you get really good stuff right off the bat. And I like just equipping whatever the hell I find, whether it's good or bad. It's like, okay, well, this is the best thing I got right now, so I'm just gonna equip it and see what happens. Yeah, Godfall's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making different builds between the Valor plates. I'm excited to get into Endgame and like really put those builds to the test, just to see like what you can do at the highest level, right? Like how important is it if I really go into shield damage, and how much damage can my shield actually achieve if I just go all in on that?
Yeah.
I want to see what that ends up being. But yeah, the game's really fun. If you like melee combat and you like loot and you like making builds, you might have a good time with Godfall.
Yeah.
How do you get cosmetics? Does anyone know how to get...
No,
I got to assume they're going to add a store to this game at some point.
I mean, they did say there's no microtransactions though. They don't have any plans for them, so I'm not too. I haven't worked out how to get them yet. So
I know that there was like something from whether it was pre-order or like the edition that Briar got, that you can change the color.
Yeah, I got like gold and silver, but only for some of them. Only for some of them.
So, but like, yeah, there's like shield cosmetics and weapon cosmetics and Valor plate cosmetics. So I was like, if you put that in the end game and allow me to grind for like different cosmetic looking Valor plates, I would.
Do you think they're going to have events? You know, I know it's not a live service game, but they obviously have a DLC planned, and there is like this end game thing that you could totally see them being like, all right, this week or this month, there's like some sort of Godfall event to get these cosmetics.
Yeah, I guess it's possible.
I think this game's coming in hot, to be honest with you. And there might just be hooks for things that they didn't have time to develop for.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And maybe we'll see that those hooks get used in DLC later. I don't know. Are they only planning one DLC? Are they planning more DLCs? Maybe based on sales, huh?
Yeah, I guess in the moment it just says it's just one for now. But yeah. Could be more.
Because like this is one of those games where I was playing, I was like, I can't wait till they make another one of these. You know, like because it's gonna. Once they figure out the formula, like and really hone it in, like I could see this being like absolutely one of my favorites. Like,
it's a fun game.
You said on Twitter last week, like this really reminds you when you were early on in Destiny. Like everybody seems to hate this game, but I'm sitting here loving it.
Yeah,
you know? Exactly.
It's so much,
like a 6 out of 10 game, and a lot of people dropped off of Destiny 1. A lot of people were like, Godfall's just not really doing it. But for me, I'm like, yes, I like the way this feels. I'm having fun. I'm having a good time.
I think it's like I sort of said before about the casual experience. I like the fact that given how busy it is this week, like normally I'm just like, when it was like Destiny, like prime time, I'd be like, oh, I've got to play for the whole day. It was like literally like the weekend. I was quite. I finally had a chance to get some rest. And I was like, I'm just going to play Godfall for like 20 minutes, just like run a few things. Like I ran the tower to like level 10, and was like, all right, cool, yeah, I'm going to be drop out for a little bit. But you know, I like the fact that there is something that can kind of give me that fix, but I don't have to sink like bajillion hours into if I don't want to. I can still if I want to, you know. So
yeah, agreed. I like it too.
Tefty.
Put cosmetics in the end game. I will grind for it.
Yeah, that's a perfect place to put them for sure.
Yeah.
Tefty.
Yes.
You bought something. You bought something new.
I finally
wanted to ask you a little bit about it.
Ask away.
What'd you get? Like, what's this? What's this I hear about a RTX 3070?
Finally acquired an RTX card, a 3070. I got the hookup from someone, and I'm very thankful for that hookup. And I got a Gigabyte 3070 board. That is, I basically waited by my door all Saturday. I could have been like, I could have been playing Godfall. I could have been playing Destiny. Yeah. But instead, I was sitting by my door waiting for the FedEx guy because God forbid I go upstairs, you know, take a shower and then, sorry we missed you.
Yeah. Because those guys, man, if they knock, it's like, I'm out.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I got my 3070, which I'm very, very happy about because two things, actually. One is Cyberpunk shan't not be played without ray tracing. And I will be that was like goal number one, be able to play Cyberpunk on PC with ray tracing. And I knew I had to get either a 3070 or 3080. And I don't plan on going to 4K anytime soon. In fact, probably won't until maybe 2022 when I redo everything, get like a 4K monitor that's not going to cost everything. That's going to be good still.
I spent everything and it was worth it.
I bet it was worth it.
It's so nice having a remote control for the monitor sitting in front of you instead of having to like reach around and like
nice. Yeah.
feel for buttons.
That's really nice. Yeah. So I decided, I was like, you know, 3070 will be perfect for not only 1080p, obviously, but like 1440p. It'll be great for that. And then also I have the RTX stuff, the ray tracing. I'm also doing capture on the PC for just the game for the specific things I need to edit.
Yeah.
So that's great
using
too.
Like Shadow Play for that?
No, I'm just using, well, what I'm doing is I'm using NDI for the game or the transfer. So I open up another copy of OBS, or I open up a copy of OBS on my main or the gaming PC, and then I use NDI to send that that footage over the network to my streaming PC, and I'll basically just use the RTX encoder then on that OBS instance to get a clean copy of the gameplay with no stream stuff on there, and that way I can separate those two things out. Really nice.
God, I didn't even realize that you have to set your encoder for that. I do the same thing. Yeah, I assume it's using NVENC on mine too, because I haven't seen any performance hits from using it.
If you didn't set it, it's probably using the CPU.
Interesting. Now I have to look at OBS.
Yeah, you got to go in and put NVENC new on there, and then it will use the RTX encoder.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it was two things. It was Cyberpunk, the RTX encoder, three things actually. And my old 980 Ti is dying. That's in the music computer down the hallway.
Oh.
So I was like, well,
so your 1080 Ti is going in there?
1080 Ti is going to the music computer. And
God, just when that 4-year-old graphics card thought it was finally going to retire in peace. Nope.
You're running music GUIs right now. Yeah.
I think he's ready for the rest home, man. Ready for nice, easy retirement.
Right? Yeah, so I'm still
bingo.
I'm still using a 7700K rig, and it went perfectly into that. Had no issues whatsoever. Yeah. But I'm thinking that my next build is going to be a 5600X, the AMD 5600X with that 3070 card, and I'm looking forward to that.
That seems like a pretty nice build. Mm-hmm. I was surprised to see you go for the 3070. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought you really had your heart set on the 3080.
Well, I was, and then I was like, okay, there's rumors of the 3080 Ti, and then
That's true.
AMD's offerings.
Strong rumors.
Yeah. AMD's offerings are coming out, and I was like, well, maybe I should just get a 3070 because I'm not planning on doing 4K anytime soon. And in a year to two, there's probably going to be a 4000 series that is going to be even better.
Yeah, there's always something better around the corner.
Yeah,
sure.
but like if I was dead set on doing 4K right now, then I'd probably go 3080 or 3090 or wait for the big Navi.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you've been using it now for current games too, right?
yeah, I played Destiny on it.
The 3070.
Yeah, past few.
Have you noticed any upgrade over the 1080 Ti, or is it
Feels really clean, you know. Like the 1080 Ti on 1080p was already like fantastic. You know?
overkill kind of?
Yeah, overkill exactly. But
Yeah.
it feels possibly like there's just a smidge less latency latency.
That's possible, right? That's one of the technologies built into the 3000 series is that like lower latency.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, as
Trying
soon
to
as I
take on comp now, Tefty.
I did.
Lower latency.
Yeah, jumped in. My heart rate just skyrocketed, and I was like, you know what? I got to get the hell out of this playlist. I don't want to break anything in my office. I have to leave this playlist right now.
Well, I hope if you end up building a new computer, you do another video of it because
Oh, definitely.
I just watched your review of the 3900 computer, and I remember you doing your build. I think of this 77 1080 Ti 4 years ago.
Yeah, I did.
And I remember enjoying that video. It was a long video. It was like an hour long, but I remember liking it. I'm a little bit
thank
predisposed to people like doing that kind of stuff. I love office tours and I love like build videos. That Henry Cavill PC build.
That was awesome.
Possibly my favorite video of all time.
Yeah, that's a great build video. Yeah, I enjoy that stuff too. It's really fun making the builds and like putting that stuff together, and then fielding all the armchair builders on the comment section.
Yeah.
You didn't do enough.
I'm still
paste.
locked up.
You did too little paste. You did blah blah.
Oh yeah, fuck those guys. I'm still locked up. I can't decide if I still like have this like this irrational want for the 3090. Just it's like the same part of my brain that wants a Humvee as like a daily driver wants a 3090 just because of how ridiculous and huge it is. Like I just like that appeals to me in a stupid and immature way, but it's there. It does appeal. And the 3080 is a great video card. It runs hot, and you know, like that's fine though. Like I got a PC that can handle it.
Yeah,
and it would be nice to, you know, I have this new monitor or this new TV in front of on my desk that has HDMI 2.1 and can run 4K 120 hertz. So I'd really like to be able to take advantage of this PC gaming. But with this 3080 Ti, like one of the things about the 3080 that has me nervous is that it only has 10 gigs of RAM. It's got the Samsung chip in it that I think runs hotter than it should.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I'm with you. I'm really looking forward to Big Navi. That's you know, they just did unboxings. All the YouTubers did unboxings on that. Hopefully the reviews come out soon. Yep. And then if the 3080 Ti is coming out soon, I'd like to see that too.
Yeah, I just don't see what room they have left between like the 3080 and the 3090. Like those margins,
about $600 worth of room.
Yeah, I mean, there's that the financial cost, but like the actual power differences between the two is already, you know, kind of splitting hairs at that point. So like putting a 3080 Ti in the middle of that's going to be like, huh?
Yeah. Well, if they could just boost up the performance a little bit and add a little bit more memory in it, and maybe charge $1,000 for it, I think I'd be into it. If they like, I think that would be the sweet spot for me personally. Is $1,000 graphics card that has more memory. Not 20. How much memory does the 3090 have? 20 something?
Is it 20?
24?
Gig? Oh,
24 gigs.
I don't know actually. What is
I don't
Big
remember
Navi?
off the top of my head.
What's Big Navi shipping with?
I don't know. I haven't,
because that's $1,000 and supposedly on par with the 3090 in terms of power.
That's kind of my sweet spot right there. I like that. But we were having a conversation before the show about I like some of the NVIDIA extra features like DLSS, NVENC
encoder, all
some of that
driver
stuff.
support is usually better. But with AMD, you might have a system that is completely synced and everything is harmonized. If they do work out the drivers, if you go full AMD from the motherboard all the way to the GPU, and like there's some technology that could be pretty wizard.
Yeah, but I heard that's only good for like a 1 to 2% boost anyway.
I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yo, guys, sorry to interject. I just need to drop out because I have to take a call, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so
I think we
I
should
will leave you guys.
End it anyway.
I'll leave you guys to wrap up without me.
Yep. We got to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
No
Thank you,
worries.
Eric.
I'll catch
Thank
you
you,
guys next
Eric.
week.
Thank you for the
All right.
beard decorations.
Yeah,
Well,
It was
Eric's-
very good.
See you later.
Watts, Eric's did put on the helmet during the show, so that responsibility now falls on you.
Okay, understand.
For as we say goodbye. Yep. Thank you very much for watching. Shout out to our Patreons. Shout out to everyone watching live and also
First of
subbing
all,
on Twitch.
this is the helmet.
Oh, nice.
I can't really hear you guys, but
That is the helmet. It looks very realistic.
It looks heavy.
Yeah, it does look heavy.
I just can't look. If I want to look up, I have to. And the side is definitely not a thing that happens.
That looks badass.
It looks cool, actually.
Watts should go
We like it.
to the grocery store with that on.
I
Yeah.
should. A mask in this, I might be protected.
I don't think that mask is doing what.
You just got to put a second thing under
What
there.
about? Well, maybe not. It protects my forehead from viruses.
Yeah. Well, that is really cool. So yes, again, shout out to everyone watching, and shout out to our Patreons and our Twitch subs for supporting the show. This has been Side Quest number 71, the Jumbo Next Gen episode that we've all been anticipating, right? If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, where I will be hemming and hawing about exactly what I'm going to be streaming, because I just don't know. I need to grind Destiny, but I need to play all the stuff on the PS5.
You gotta get raid ready. And hey, Tefty, the longer you take, the more time you're gonna be spending in comp to get caught up. I'm just putting that out there.
Oh god, I gotta play comp.
Just get Joker to carry you. It'll be great.
There you go. Right.
I'll go. I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts. We're still playing a mixture of Godfall and Destiny. New season kicks off tomorrow, so obviously Destiny will be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me sneaking in Watts' window trying to steal that Godfall helmet.
All right, that's the episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you. We'll see you for DCP Live.
TCP Live main.
yeah.
TCP Prime.
Oh.
Tomorrow, there is a new episode of Retrocast, so that'll be tomorrow.
Nice.
Retro Slot,
Yeah.
sorry, not Retrocast. Retro Slot.
We know the names of the shows.
Yeah, we're
on.
totally professional here.
You know.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.